Tonight, the eve of a verdict in a long sexual assault trial.
I believe that this moment is going to be significant, and hopefully it allows for some closure.
A former neurologist expected to learn his fate tomorrow. More trouble surrounding a local grocery store. The new allegations about unpaid wages and the widening effort to get closure. Plus, a final push to try to stay on the force. Lawyers for a Guelph police constable who assaulted a teen speak out at the hearing determining his fate.
Good evening. There will soon be a verdict in one of the largest sexual assault trials in this community and in this province. A former neurologist accused of inappropriately touching female patients during exams in his Kitchener office. And a warning, this story does contain some of the details that were presented in court. Tomorrow, the judge in Jeffrey Sloka's case is expected to deliver his decision. CTV's Krista Simpson has been following this case since the first allegations came to light nearly 9 years ago and joins us now with more. Krista.
Well, Tony, it was 2017 when the first concerns about Sloka's conduct were raised with the Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons. It took more time for charges to be laid, and the criminal trial itself has spanned more than 4.5 years. Now we have reached the eve of a verdict.
This was Jeffrey Scott Sloka leaving court in December as closing arguments in his sexual assault case concluded. On Friday, 4.5 years after his trial began, he's scheduled to return to hear Justice Craig Perry's verdict, a decision the executive director of the Sexual Assault Support Centre of Waterloo Region will be watching closely.
I've been doing this work for about 24 years, and I've certainly not seen anything like this in our community before.
Sloka was a neurologist. He's accused of sexually assaulting some of his female patients during appointments at his private practice in Kitchener, touching their breasts, vaginas, or other intimate areas, or improperly draping patients, examining some while they were completely naked. Sloka's lawyers have argued there were medical reasons for the examinations he did, and he had a broad interest in medicine outside of his specialty. The Crown has argued Sloka touched the women for sexual purpose, and has argued even if the judge doesn't find that was Sloka's motivation, he could still be found guilty if the judge believes the women's sexual integrity was violated. The complaints date back to 2010 and were first reported to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario in 2017. Sloka was charged criminally in 2019.
When Sloka's trial began in September 2021, he was facing 63 counts of sexual assault. Throughout the course of the trial, some of those were withdrawn. He is now awaiting a verdict on 48 counts.
I can't think in recent time where we have seen so many of those charges in our country.
Defense lawyer Nick Cake, who is not involved in the case, says the number of complainants is a major factor in the unusually long criminal trial.
There's going to be an impact that this decision has on them, and there's going to be an impact that this decision has on the accused individual as well, where we could be talking about taking away his liberty and locking him in a cage for an extended period of time. So ultimately, there needs to be care and the time needs to be taken.
I believe that this moment is going to be significant, and hopefully it allows for some closure, at least of the chapter of the trial, where folks can just move on and focus on their healing and their wellness.
Next week, the Sexual Assault Support Centre is planning a gathering where those who were impacted by the case can connect, something that couldn't happen during the course of the trial to avoid suggestions complainants were colluding. And to the women that testified against the doctor they once trusted, Sarah Castleman has this message.
There's many of us going in that will be present for the verdict. And, you know, there are folks in the community that care about you, that want to wrap you in care.
The judge has warned his full written decision will be more than 1,000 pages long, though he did not expect to read the entirety of it in court on Friday. Tony.
Okay, and we'll be there to find out what happens. Krista Simpson with the latest reporting on the Sloka case. Krista, thank you. Time now for a first check on the weather. Let's head over to Ashley Bacon for our first look. Boy, oh boy, I just wish this could last right into the weekend. Such a gorgeous midweek we've had weather-wise, but it's going to change soon.
You got it, Tony. I think Leanne said it best during the 5 o'clock show. Today was a bit of a copy-paste situation from yesterday. And as you said, it was beautiful out there. We saw lots and lots of sunshine. I certainly, as you can see, short sleeves today. I will take this kind of weather, especially in April, anytime. It was absolutely gorgeous out there. And as Tony alluded to, unfortunately, things are going to get back to what they should be for this time of year, and we're also expecting a bit of precipitation. But let's get to our boards. We'll take a look at our radar. We can see there's not really a lot happening around Waterloo region at the moment. We will see spotty showers starting to move through in the overnight hours. Tomorrow morning, we should have relatively clear skies with more precipitation on the way for the afternoon. But let's look at what's happening right now. 21 degrees. So temperatures rising a degree since the last show. Southerly wind at 11 kilometers an hour. Around the region, temperatures remaining very warm, 25 in Windsor, 23 in Sarnia. So, Tony, these summer-like conditions, get out and enjoy them while you can, because, as I said, things are going to change tomorrow.
All right, we'll get those details from you later. Ash, thank you. More trouble for former Waterloo Region grocery store Dutchies and its business director, Michael Renkema. 14 new Employment Standard Act violations have been ordered against Dutchies. This time, included in the orders are numbered companies operated by Renkema's brother, Ken Renkema, who owns a grocery market in Brantford. CTV's Jeff Pickle has been reporting extensively on this story and joins us now with more. All right, so Jeff, help us to untangle what we've got going on here.
Well, Tony, when we last reported on Dutchies, we heard from a number of employees who worked right up until Dutchies' final day at the Waterloo store. Many of those employees have filed with the Ministry of Labour and now have orders to pay against Dutchies. But this time, those orders include numbered companies associated with Ken Renkema, the brother of Michael Renkema and owner of JR's Country Fresh Market.
It was late November 2025 when we last heard from former employees of Dutchies Fresh Market, claiming they worked long hours without getting their full pay.
What I go through and the rest of the people, I don't want so much more other people to go through.
Now the names of several of those we spoke with appear on a list of 14 new Employment Standard Act violations filed by the Ministry of Labour. Previous reporting detailed Dutchies received over 70 employment standard violations between 2018 and 2025. Last year, Dutchies and Michael Renkema pled guilty to 13 offences in provincial court. Dutchies was fined $25,000. Renkema was fined $7,500. The final Dutchies location closed on December 1st, 2025. CTV News has reviewed documents from the Ontario Labour Relations Board, which outline a decision on a request to appeal the 14 new Employment Standard Act charges. Several number companies listed in the OLRB decision belong to Michael Renkema, along with 2 numbered companies under Renkema's brother's name, Ken Renkema. According to public documents, one of Ken Renkema's corporations purchased property at 352 Governors Road East, just north of Brantford, for over $1.4 million. Another company associated with Ken Renkema under the name Squirrely Whirly operates a fruit and vegetable market at 352 Governors Road East, the current location of JR's Country Fresh Market, which opened in August of last year. From the Ontario Labour Relations Board decision, it is unclear why Ken Renkema's companies are included in these orders. We reached out to Michael and Ken Renkema, but did not get a response on the record.
And we also reached out to 3 of the employees who spoke with us in the weeks after Dutchies closed. They each say they have still not been paid. We also reached out to the Ministry of Labour, who are responsible for investigating Employment Standard Act violations and issuing those orders to pay. The Ministry of Labour confirmed charges were laid in February of 2026, but offered no further information on the situation. Tony?
Okay, CTV's Jeff Pickle with new reporting on that wage fight. Jeff, thank you for that. A penalty hearing for a Guelph police constable who assaulted a teen handcuffed to a hospital bed has ended. And tonight, a date's been set for Corey MacArthur to learn his fate with the service. CTV's Karis Map now with how MacArthur's lawyer replied today to the Force's argument that he should be dismissed.
Submissions wrapped up Thursday morning at the West End Community Centre in Guelph, and now the future of Constable Corey MacArthur's policing career will be decided. On Wednesday, the Guelph Police Services lawyer Jessica Barrow highlighted why the officer should be dismissed after he previously pled guilty in 2018 to striking a teen who was handcuffed to a hospital bed 2 years prior. Thursday brought the opportunity for MacArthur's lawyer, Madeleine Ross, to respond. During Wednesday's submissions, Barrow said due to MacArthur's history, he was untrustworthy in volatile situations that often present themselves in policing. In 2008, MacArthur was charged with assault for another on-duty incident, leading the prosecution to suggest the 2016 attack was not an isolated incident or out of character for the officer. But Ross rebutted that MacArthur's employment records screamed the opposite of Barrow's claim about his character, and that he has frequently been counted on and relied on to appropriately respond to difficult and volatile situations, adding that one prior incident doesn't indicate a pattern. The present matter is not a prior act of misconduct. It is the matter you're now deciding, and it cannot be folded back into the analysis to create a pattern, Ross argued. She continued that MacArthur is of further use to the police service and community in general, and his return to the police service wouldn't need to see him back working in the field. There are many different roles within policing that do not necessarily involve frontline policing, she stressed. Ross's response wrapped up focusing on the impact a dismissal, especially when the officer is approaching retirement, would have on MacArthur and his family. Demotion towards the end of one's career impacts their pension. It is not a small consequence. MacArthur's fate is now in the hands of the hearing officer. He will review all the evidence and submissions and is set to return to Guelph in July to give his decision. Kara Smapp, CTV News, Guelph.
An Ontario court has dismissed an appeal by Brady Robertson, who was sentenced to 17 years in an impaired driving crash 6 years ago, which killed a woman and her 3 daughters. Robertson pleaded guilty to 4 counts of dangerous driving causing death in the 2020 crash, but also pleaded not guilty to impaired by drugs charges. The trial heard he had registered a THC concentration 8 times the legal limit less than an hour after the crash. His lawyer argued the law on drug-impaired driving was not constitutional and that his sentence was overly harsh. At a hearing this week, the appeal judge disagreed. Carolina Casulo and her 3 daughters, Clara, Liliana, and Mila, were killed when their SUV was struck by a vehicle on June 18, 2020, at an intersection in Brampton. At the time, police stated that the vehicle that hit them was speeding and had run a red light when it struck the family's car. The Ford government has passed its spring budget. The legislation has faced criticism over changes to freedom of information laws, which allow the Premier and his cabinet to keep all of their office records secret. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
Anger across the aisle as MPPs pass Ontario's 2026 budget. A budget with a tax cut for small business, a cap on ticket resale prices, and more money for home care. But tucked inside, a dramatic, retroactive change to freedom of information laws.
This is a budget that is about protecting the Premier and his phone records, because guess what? We all know that this Premier has been up to something.
The overhaul will keep phone records from the Premier, ministers, and their staff secret. It comes after a court ordered Doug Ford to turn them over. He insists
95% of all information will be able to FOI.
Is that the 5% that is related to the RCMP investigation of the $8.3 billion Greenbelt scandal? Is that 5% related to how the government's using the Skills Development Fund as their own personal piggy bank?
The finance minister argues this is about matching Ontario with other provinces and the federal government.
The Westminster model on cabinet confidentiality is critical.
He already knows that there's cabinet confidentiality. He's trying to pull one over on everybody.
The anger in question period didn't only come from the opposition benches.
Why does this Premier, who claims to be accountable, make it so very hard to hold?
Do you know why the members down here? Because CP24 didn't want her anymore, bottom line. Yeah, it hurts, doesn't it? It hurts when you aren't wanted. There's a reason why you're here.
An outburst that some opposition leaders think demands an apology.
That is beneath the office of the Premier, an office that he's privileged to hold.
I think it's just another example that the Premier's out of control.
That report from CTV's Queen's Park correspondent Siobhan Morris. Coming up, virtual reality as a therapy. The Laurier researchers whose work is making a difference with people who have dementia.
Well, the return of rain. We are going to get some more precipitation over the next few days. What will the weekend look like? I'll break down all those details with your full weather forecast coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news.
A house fire last night left the outside of a Cambridge home charred. Crews were called to Bismarck Drive around 8 p.m. Wednesday. They quickly got the fire under control and prevented it from spreading to nearby homes. Officials say the fire started in the attached garage. No one was hurt, and the cause is still under investigation. 3 men have been charged in connection with a cybercrime investigation dubbed Project Lighthouse. The trio are accused of using an SMS blaster, a device police say has not been seen in Canada before. CTV's John Musselman brings us details.
Police say the accused men were using what's called a mobile SMS blaster. This is a photo of one used in the UK recently. Toronto police won't reveal what was seized here for investigative reasons, but it works in a similar way. The blaster is placed in the back of a vehicle and it moves around the GTA.
A sophisticated device designed to mimic a cellular tower, intercept connections, and send fraudulent text messages directly to people's phones.
Police say this is cybercrime technology never seen in Canada before, and it highlights how the criminal landscape is changing.
When people's phones connect to it, they receive fraudulent text messages that appear to come from trusted organizations, often directing them to click a link. Those links lead to fake websites designed to steal personal information, including banking credentials and passwords.
What makes this particularly concerning is the scale and impact. This wasn't targeting a single individual or a business. It had the ability to reach thousands of devices at once.
3 GTA area men have been charged in this case. They range in age from 21 to 27 years old. Police first became aware of this back in November 2025. That's when a cybersecurity partner notified law enforcement about a suspected SMS blaster operating in Toronto. The accused are facing 44 charges, including fraud and mischief. Police are reminding people to be cautious. Scammers often send unsolicited messages to get your login information, banking details, or passwords. Do not click on any of those links. John Musselman, CTV News.
Canada's Financial Intelligence Agency says criminal organizations appear to be using young students from India to extort people and businesses in South Asian communities across the country. The Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FinTrack as it's known, says extortion targeting South Asian communities has evolved to a sustained campaign of coercion. It involves intimidation and coordination across multiple provinces, most notably BC, Alberta, Manitoba, and Ontario. Now, the FinTrack analysis suggests multiple crime groups, including Indian crime gangs, are involved in ongoing extortion activities. They're advising banks and others who handle money to watch for telltale signs of extortion-related activities, such as unusually large cash withdrawals or wire transfers. A new virtual reality program is helping seniors with dementia stay active by taking them somewhere else entirely. Researchers at Wilfrid Laurier University are turning exercise into an experience, one that's as fun as it is therapeutic. CTV's Spencer Turcott explains.
I'm reading my instructions.
It may look like a video game, but for some seniors living with dementia, it's a chance to reconnect. Inside the Adult Recreation Therapy Center in Brantford, 84-year-old Donna Nowacki slips on a virtual reality headset and suddenly she's no longer in the room. She's on the water.
Tricky, he moves. He takes turns very quickly.
Wilfrid Laurier University researchers watch along as her experience plays out in real time on a nearby TV. The game is called Seize the Day, and unlike other VR games, it's designed specifically to get older adults moving while sparking memories and engagement.
Participants can be engaged doing certain activities that we know they miss. We know they like doing. We know that they have been there before.
With movements like rowing, fishing, reaching, users build strength and coordination. But for those with dementia, the benefits go deeper. The immersive scenes are designed to feel familiar, calming, even nostalgic.
We have a cottage on Lake Erie, and so it did remind me of some of the lake activities that we did there.
We're doing it in a way that is therapeutically correct, as opposed to something that will potentially generate an injury.
Each motion is carefully designed alongside therapists, gradually increasing intensity without overwhelming the user. And there's a playful side too.
The one I caught 12 fish once. Yeah, 12 fish.
The game encourages users to beat their own score, turning therapy into something they actually want to do. For researchers, that motivation is key. Traditional rehab can feel repetitive, but this approach keeps people coming back.
I noticed change in self-confidence.
But the goal is much bigger than this room.
I'm collaborating with Sick Kids Hospital in a very similar project, in this case for children with ADHD.
While this session is focused on seniors with dementia, researchers say the same technology could be adapted for stroke recovery and children's mental health, turning exercise into escape and moments into memories. Spencer Turcott, CTV News, Brantford.
Well, here's a live look outside right now, and as we zoom out, we see the patio at Beertown in Uptown Waterloo. And what a beautiful day to enjoy a patio out there. I saw several patios on my way into work today, just filled with people enjoying these beautiful, warm conditions. But the end of the week, the weekend in particular, is going to remind us that it's still April after all, and Ashley will have those details in just a couple of minutes. Also ahead, Hannah Schmidt puts a new spotlight on an unsolved killing in Kitchener in her latest installment of Unsolved 519. Tonight, 5 years later, still no arrest in the stabbing death of Joshua Bennett. But next, remixing the booze debate. Is the ban on U.S. alcohol on many Canadian shelves doing more harm than good when it comes to the trade war? Ashley's back with our look at the forecast as we had that live shot before the break of a full patio in Uptown Waterloo. That's the kind of thing you're seeing all over the region today because people are suddenly on to patio season.
I think we're a little bit jealous right now,
Yeah,
if I'm being honest.
are.
I mean, look, we've got a great gig here, but
for sure,
sometimes in the summer, when you see folks out enjoying after work patio fun,
it's because this
we want
seems
to be there too.
This seems to be that happy hour on the
Yeah,
patios, right?
totally
And we're looking at it through the lens of a camera, but we're wanting to be there. Oh well, we're experiencing it by osmosis,
Absolutely.
and it's in any event, it's going to be rather short-lived.
100%. Get out and enjoy it while you can, because unfortunately things are going to change. Let's take a look back outside at that glorious weather. Uptown Waterloo. Dave Pettit bringing us this beautiful shot of that. You can see so many people out in t-shirts and shorts, and as Tony mentioned, enjoying some food and maybe a beverage outdoors. What a night to do it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think I might have to fire up the barbecue again tonight because it's such a shame to waste such a nice evening. We are expected to have a bit of rain come through over the next 24 hours. Let's take a look at the future cast. So we are going to potentially see some spotty showers through the overnight hours. Tomorrow morning, we might even see a little bit of rain, especially if you're up early. We will get patches of sunshine through the morning, but by tomorrow evening, another system with it, some rain. So make sure, even if you are leaving your homes tomorrow and it is sunny out, you bring an umbrella, because we are likely going to have some afternoon showers, and then again into the evening and overnight we will see some more showers moving through Saturday. London might even get an overnight storm as things start to progress. But what's happening right now across the country? We're seeing some great conditions on the west coast, 12 degrees in Victoria and Vancouver, 3 in Edmonton with a bit of cloud cover. For McMurray though, snowing and -1. In the Prairie Provinces, a little bit colder there as well. 0 for Saskatoon and Thompson. Regina, just 1 degree. So it is a little bit all over the place. Southern Ontario feeling a little bit warmer, a little bit sunnier. 12 in Sudbury with a mix of sun and cloud. In our nation's capital, a little bit cloudier, and 13. On the east coast, we're looking at -3 in Corner Brook and 1 in St. John's at this hour. But here locally, man, is it nice. We're sitting at 20 degrees still, 24 in Windsor, 23 in Sarnia. So overall, very nice conditions to round out your evening here on this Thursday. Overnight, expected to dip down to 5 degrees, which is right around seasonal for this time of year. And as we mentioned, those showers expected to start rolling through. 12 degrees is the daytime high we're looking at for tomorrow, which is just under normal for this time of year. We look at 14 around this time of year and 3 for our overnight low, but much better than back in 1930 when we reached an overnight low record of -5.6. And the great news is, if you are headed out tonight, sun setting at 8:14. So we'll get a little bit more daylight into your evening hours. As we take a look at our 7-day forecast for Waterloo Region, Saturday not as great. We are seeing temperatures move down below seasonal for the first time this week. 8 degrees the expected high with some rain. But by Sunday, back to seasonal range. 14 degrees the expected high with a mix of sun and cloud. 15 for your Monday. Similar conditions expected in Lambton, Kent, Essex. You may have a thunderstorm roll through tomorrow. High of 19 degrees is the expected high. Saturday, rather, showers and 13, with the sun making a return, and a high of 17 for Sunday. And in southern Georgian Bay, similar conditions. You have a slight chance for showers tomorrow, high of 11, 10 and showers for Saturday with sun returning for Sunday. But check out Monday, not bad, sunny and 16. Okay, let's take a look at today's Weather Watcher picture sent in from Paul near Collingwood. Ooh. And he says it was a nice way to wake up to this sunrise. No wind, no waves, and finally, no snow. I couldn't agree more, Paul. What a gorgeous shot.
Ash, that is stunning.
Yes.
That could be on a postcard.
It really, really could. And as we know, that southern Georgian Bay area saw so much snow this winter. Oof. I completely understand where he's coming from with the sentiment of how nice this is.
Appreciate that, Paul. And you know, just on that note, I'm impressed and always grateful by how many viewers we have up along the southern shore of Georgian Bay.
Absolutely.
And through Collingwood, Meaford, over into Owen Sound. We certainly appreciate you tuning in from that part of the province.
Absolutely. And keep sending those Weather Watcher pictures in. We love to see it.
It's a good place to take Weather Watcher pictures as well, for sure. Ash, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the U.S. says it is looking at new sectors to protect as American officials revive talk about Canadian trade irritants. The Prime Minister responded today, saying he is ready to go into detailed negotiations, or wait, if that's what has to happen. CTV's Mike LeCouture reports.
As this Ottawa pub gets ready for a busy night of playoff hockey, the shutout of U.S. spirits has led to a run on Canadian alcohol.
We really get asked more like about Niagara wines versus the Californias, and we get asked about the Canadian options for spirits as well.
The decline in American booze sales is likely why U.S. trade officials continue to bring it up as an irritant.
There may have to be an enforcement action to deal with this issue on wine and spirits in Canada.
When pressed about that today, the Prime Minister pushed back.
You know what's an irritant? 50% tariff on steel, 50% tariff on aluminum, 25% tariff on automobiles, all the tariffs on forest products. Those are more than irritants.
Appearing on CNN, Premier Doug Ford made no apologies for Ontario not stocking U.S. alcohol and Ontarians not vacationing in the U.S.
It's unfortunate that Canadians are boycotting spending tens of billions of dollars in the U.S. This can come to a quick end. Everyone can thrive and prosper.
While criticizing the Carney government for making concessions and not getting any in return, the Conservatives say it's time to hold firm.
I don't think we should squander any more leverage after learning from Mr. Carney's mistakes.
Polyev believes the focus should be on the 2.6 million Canadian jobs affected by the trade war. The Prime Minister agrees, adding negotiation over American alcohol is a two-way street.
We can make progress very quickly on that, with progress in other areas.
Carney added Canada is ready to wait for those talks if that's what has to happen, using an increasingly defiant tone as the CUSMA deadline approaches. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, just ahead, we've got our latest installment of Unsolved 519 and bringing dollars and cents to literacy lessons. The shift for Ontario's high school students on money matters. Learning how to manage money will soon be a mandatory part of Ontario's high school curriculum. Beginning this fall, students in grade 10 will have to pass a financial literacy test in order to graduate. It's something many parents and experts say is a long-awaited addition to the classroom. CTV's Tyler Fleming has details.
For 17-year-old Noah Bertrand, money already matters.
You're starting to actually have expenses and things you have to pay for.
He works part-time and plans to study commerce and says learning the basics should be mandatory in high school.
The sort of transition between high school and the sort of real world, knowing a lot of that stuff about taxes and interest is very important.
Right now, learning about financial literacy is optional, but starting in September, students will need to pass a test in grade 10, scoring at least 70% to graduate.
I think it's a great idea.
The province says it's about balancing the books early, teaching teens how to budget, save, invest, and avoid scams. Parent Gaetan Purdy says it's long overdue.
When I was in high school, they did not teach that, so I think this program will help the kids help what we did our day-to-day lives financially.
The latest data from Statistics Canada shows younger Canadians carry nearly $1.70 owed for every dollar earned. Debts tied to school loans, credit cards, and car payments.
When you have knowledge about how your finances work, you can put guardrails in and say, okay, if things start going sideways, what do I do?
Money touches every part of life, and experts say learning discipline early is a skill young adults can take to the bank.
Then they'll be able to say no to a lot of these things because you're exposed to it 24/7 now with your phones, which is good for merchandisers, not so good for consumers. So you have to know how to say no. And I think that's a big thing too with the literacy is knowing what your limitations are.
Yeah, I've got a bit of like money put away, RESPs and all that.
For Bertrand, the calculation is simple. Understanding money now can pay out down the road. Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Time to recap our top stories with Leanne Evans. And Leanne, there's soon going to be a verdict in one of the largest sexual assault trials, not only in this community, but in the province.
Tomorrow, the judge in Jeffrey Sloka's case is expected to deliver his decision. It comes 4.5 years after the criminal trial started. Former neurologist accused of inappropriately touching female patients during exams in his Kitchener office. Sloka's charged with 48 counts of sexual assault. All the complainants are female patients seen at his office between 2010 and 2017. More trouble for former Waterloo Region grocery store Dutchies and its business director, Michael Rankema. 14 new Employment Standard Act violations have been ordered against Dutchies. This time included in the orders are numbered companies operated by Rankema's brother, Ken Rankema, who owns a grocery market in Brantford. The Ministry of Labour confirmed charges were laid in February 2026, but offered no further information on the situation.
Okay, and Leanne, our digital team tonight has a bunch of new stories online, including, I love this one, the Kitchener Panthers and KW Oktoberfest announcing a bit of a new collab this summer.
Yeah, and it's going to feature a big Bavarian baseball game. Fans can expect entertainment, food, music, and more that captures the spirit of Oktoberfest traditions. To find out when the game is happening, you can scan the QR code, download the CTV News app, or go to ctvnewskitchener.ca, and you kind of get a picture there. One of the players is sporting the uniform that'll be worn that night.
Yeah, head to our website and see that because the logo is really cool, and, and it's got me amped up about this collaboration now. I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, it's fun. The hats are pretty sweet, too.
They are. Yeah, hope to land one of those.
Yeah.
Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
Who killed Joshua Bennett? It's a question that continues to haunt police and his family. The 18-year-old was found dead along a Kitchener trail in 2021. An autopsy confirmed he'd been stabbed multiple times. Nearly 5 years later, no one's been arrested. It's the second case we're looking into in our Unsolved 519 series. CTV's Hannah Schmidt joins us now with the details. And Hannah, you recently had a chance to speak with Joshua's family and investigators. What do they have to say?
Tony, many questions still remain in this case. When exactly did the attack take place? Who was involved? And where are they now? To this day, both family members and investigators believe there are people out there who have the answers they're desperately searching for. A mother continues to search for answers nearly 5 years after her son was found dead on a Kitchener trail.
I would tell him that he's missed very much, and I'm sorry that he had to die alone. Because I probably know that must have been very terrifying for him.
Joshua Bennett was just 18 years old when he was found dead after being stabbed on a trail in the area of Paulander Drive in Kitchener on September 24th, 2021. A Conestoga College student from Etobicoke. He was studying carpentry and renovation.
He had integrity. He was loving. He was patient. He was truthful. If I wasn't his mom and I knew him, I would always remember him. His life was cut short for nothing.
Waterloo Regional Police say he was last seen the night before on September 23rd, around 7:25 p.m. on Paulander Drive. Surveillance video from the area shows Joshua and two other men following an unidentified man in a long dark coat. That was the last sighting of the 18-year-old.
We don't know exactly when Josh died. And we don't know exactly when things happened because me nor the police were there. September 24th, that day, I remember it like it was yesterday. The weather was actually really great. That's something that kind of hurts every September.
Investigators believe there is a gap in the timeline between when he was last seen and when he was found.
Investigators continue to re-examine all of the evidence in the file, including reviewing any video evidence that exists, looking at interviews that have taken place, and seeing if they can get any new leads out of that information.
No arrests have been made in Joshua's murder, and police have not been able to identify any suspects. But both family members and police believe someone out there has information that could help them solve the case and find closure.
You watched what happened, or you know something and you're remaining silent. The police have done all that they can do. They need people to come forward.
It could be something that may seem insignificant at the time, but it could be the missing piece that solves the investigation and helps bring justice to Joshua Bennett's family.
Are you ready?
In the years since his death, Joshua's mom, Felicia, has found purpose through her loss, writing books and supporting others who are experiencing a similar type of pain.
I've come out with 2 books now. I threw my first brunch for grieving people in the GTA, and there will be another one this November. It will actually be on Josh's birthday, November 7th.
And while her pain still persists, Felicia is determined to find justice for Joshua, with the search for answers far from over.
You've done wrong. Own up to it. And that's for the community as well. Accountability, do the right thing. Nothing stays hidden forever.
A reward of up to $50,000 is being offered by Waterloo Regional Police for credible information that leads to an arrest for those responsible for Joshua's murder. Tony.
Hannah, thank you. CTV's Hannah Schmidt with the latest installment of Unsolved 519. Well, just ahead, checking in on the effect of Bieber in Justin's hometown. How the Stratford-raised pop star's recent performances at a big U.S. festival are reverberating here at home. Justin Bieber took over the Coachella Music Festival in California the last 2 weekends, leading to the fandemonium term Bieberchella. His recent viral shows have created some more buzz at the Justin Bieber exhibit at the Stratford Museum in the musician's hometown. CTV's Heather Centerin checked it out.
Uh-oh, it's muted. 1 second.
Justin Bieber surprised fans at Coachella this year by duetting his old songs.
Wait, there we go. Oh, wow.
Even some of his old YouTube videos from before he made it big. There for weekend 2 of Bieberchella, Laura Braga from Brazil.
I cried the whole concert.
Braga went from the iconic Ferris wheel in Indio, California, to the Steps of Stardom Bieber exhibit at the Stratford Perth Museum. Braga is still emotional. She's been a fan for Bieber's entire career.
He was just a kid, and I have this dream to hug him, to have a moment with him.
Let's go.
His Coachella run reigniting that Bieber fever.
That definitely, I think I speak for most people when Bieberchella kind of reopened that for us. We were like, we all care about him and he made a huge impact on our lives.
The Stratford Museum's Bieber exhibit has been around since 2018, but it's been bustling even more in the last few weeks.
His legacy is undeniable, and I think that performance at Coachella just proves that this is now a new iteration of Justin. This is Justin the man, the father.
Not only do believers get to see hundreds of Bieber-related artifacts,
I can remember the clothes he used, and I can remember of myself in my room watching him wear these clothes.
A recent addition, fans also get their hands on some of his old belongings, from jerseys to shoes. And at the end of the tour, their Polaroid goes on the wall, a place where the Biebs himself signed.
So his fans get to become part of living history, part of the exhibit, and he will come back one day, we hope, and he'll get to see that.
Braga left her own mark on the wall, adding later that she'll never leave the Belieber fandom.
Thank you, Justin, for everything. It was amazing growing up with you.
Heather Centerin, CTV News, Stratford.
And if you watch us regularly, you know he does come back to the general area from time to time. Very proud hometown. All right, Ash, over to you.
Well, we're in for a little bit more rain, but of course, as we all know, April showers. I'll have those details on what we're waking up to coming up after this break. Stay with us. Start your night off with E-Talk at 7, followed by Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, then Next Level Chef, The Rookie at 9, and then cap your night off with back-to-back Georgie and Mandy's first marriage.
Tonight, a Canadian mother's desperate fight to keep her daughter from being ripped away.
I'm not a criminal. I'm a mom.
Why she was detained by ICE and what she's had to endure. We'll have that story and more later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Home of Bounce Mornings with Angie Hill and Sarge. KW's Bounce 99.5. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app.
All right, so have you made our patio rezo for tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're still going to have a few more hours of really nice weather, Tony. So
Yeah, I mean, soak up this evening if you can, because things are taking a turn, as Ash is about to tell us in our wake-up weather forecast.
It's more like a return to where we should be rather than a turn.
Turn back.
Turn back. Yeah, let's have a look at our wake-up weather board. So not too bad to start the day. We might see some showers first thing if you're up early. By 8 a.m., though, a mix of sun and cloud and 6 degrees, 10 o'clock. 8 degrees. But as I mentioned, don't let that fool you if you get up a little later than 6 and that sun is shining. Keep an umbrella close by. We are expecting some afternoon showers and definitely some evening to overnight showers leading into Saturday.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter where you are in southern Ontario. The end of April, not really safe
No, absolutely not. And I hate to say it, but the snow season goes until April 30th. And not that there's any in our forecast right now, but it could.
That's technically how long they consider the snow season.
Exactly.
Yeah, at Environment Canada, you're right. Yeah,
So,
well,
you never know.
We'll brush that thought aside for a moment.
Just think patios for now.
Yes, exactly. But finally for us tonight, an unprecedented lottery jackpot that's been claimed by two men from right here in southern Ontario. They are splitting, get this, an $80 million prize from a ticket purchased at a London mini-mart.
Wow. CTV's Lauren Sloan has more on the Canadian lottery history they've now made.
Just a few months ago, two friends from London purchased a lottery ticket from this corner store behind me. What they didn't know then, their lives were about to change forever.
Let me introduce you to Ontario's newest multimillionaires, Greg and Chris from London.
The pair immigrated from Europe to Canada in the 90s with the hope of a better life for their families.
When I come to Canada, we start to work because we dream about house, we dream about cars, we dream about send the kids to school.
Right now we can have a much better life.
The friends made Canadian lottery history as the winners of the largest lottery prize payout.
Because you played combination play for Lotto Max, you won the second prize on that draw. And here is a check for the second prize of over $400,000.
Greg and Chris say they couldn't believe they won.
My heart beat much faster.
My wife was with me, and I said, probably you won 80 million. And I was very happy.
That's the first I've seen that big money like that.
The owner of Happy Days Mini Mart says the friends are regular customers, and while he's happy for them, it is business as usual for him.
I was thrilled a few seconds, but after that, pretty much the same. I just focus on my daily routines.
But for Greg and Chris, after years of hard work, life will never look the same again.
I never miss a day in this 28 years. The retirement will be different now.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
We were just saying, what are the odds?
Oh, man. Tony, let's go get a lotto ticket after.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they say you can't win if you don't play, right? So.
Oh, wow. I hope they're big fans of us. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's our time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you once again tonight at 11:30. Take care.